Even in Season 24, Apex keeps adding secret cool little features for us to enjoy, like the new Caustic animation, something you may not have noticed about Ash's dash, and whatever this is. So let's talk about some new and old stuff. Starting with two altar animations that you can only see if you're not playing altar, as Respawn really went to town adding secrets for her. For example, after she gets a kill, for a few seconds after, she skips with happiness, which took us a surprisingly long time to notice. And also, if an altar has a karambit equipped, she actually plays this animation, which is only viewable to everyone but the altar who actually owns the heirloom. So this is an heirloom animation that everybody but you can see. Speaking of animations, Respawn secretly removed an animation they didn't even add to the game. As you may be aware, the EVA 8 has had the same inspect forever. It has the default inspect. But when the Draconis EVA 8 recolor was added to the recolor store, it had a brand new inspect, which looks really cool. We were really excited for Respawn to release this inspect animation, but something weird happened. They didn't release it, and also they removed all traces of it from the game. Now the EVA 8 Draconis inspect is just the normal inspect. They literally re-recorded it to hide the evidence. What's going on here? Here's something funny though, a lot of us don't like the Apex artifacts because they are kind of shady. You have to gamble to get them. And funnily enough, in the lore, Apex artifacts are canonically a shady marketing ploy as well, as Respawn wrote this to describe the Apex artifacts when they first got announced. Apex artifacts were given to each of the legends by the Mercenary Syndicate to bring something new and exciting to the games, to distract from the recent disruption of Revenant and the untimely death of Eduardo Silva. The smallest particle of Branthium indefinitely powers each guitar in order to maintain their ominous presence. So essentially, guitars were given to the legends to distract them from the games going downhill. That sounds kind of familiar. Here's a cool thing though. A lot of you may feel like Ash's new passive where she can dash side to side and backwards and forwards is very familiar, but you can't put your finger on it. Well, if you have this feeling, it's probably because the dash in Apex is very similar visually and mechanically to the dash on Titans in Titanfall 2, down to the little bars at the bottom and down to the cooldown times. And this is cool because Ash is technically the only pilot legend, so the fact that she gets essentially a Titan ability as one of her abilities is cool, and you've got to respect it. Now we just need her Ronin sword. Wait 1 second. Here's something a lot of people have found with this season though. Have you tried to fight the dummies in the firing range and found out you die very quickly? Well, that's because Respawn have messed something up that I can't explain right now, but essentially whenever dummies shoot you, they cause like 10 times more damage than they should. So this just happens, which is very, very annoying. Speaking of very annoying though, there used to be a little exploit with Altar on King's Canyon which could troll people so badly it would literally stop them from being able to play the game until they left or died. Because you may know, in the Caustic treatment point of interest on King's Canyon, there's a secret room, which can only be accessed by Watson and Caustic, otherwise this room is completely locked for the whole game. This was part of a lore teaser many seasons ago and it just remains in game as a cool little secret room that only certain legends can unlock, but when Altar came out, she was actually able to trap legends in this room. This is because of the nature of Altar's tactical, where she can create a portal through walls that only lasts a limited amount of time. So if you manage to bait people into this room and Altar's portal ran out, it would trap them in there for the rest of the game, leaving them to contemplate how they got into this situation and why Respawn added a room that only 2 legends can access. Staying on the topic of Caustic though, you may remember when his heirloom first came out, there was a tiny bit of drama surrounding it, because it didn't have a special door kick animation. It just used the default melee animation, which was really ugly. So eventually, after a few months of this feedback, Respawn promised that they would add a door kick animation to Caustic's heirloom, and even announced its release in one of the updates. Yet, it never came despite these promises and even announcements. It became a meme that Caustic players were upset that other legends got special door kick animations on their heirlooms, and Caustic just didn't, until 17 seasons later in season 24, when we finally got the Caustic door kick animation. Yes, I'm serious. This issue first came up in season 7, and it took an additional 17 seasons for this issue to be addressed. How is it addressed? Well, one of the view model animators at Respawn posted this on their Twitter, and most people immediately knew what this meant. Caustic had finally got his door kick animation, and lo and behold, this clip went viral on Reddit. He had finally been given that animation, and it only took 17 seasons, which is what, like 3-4 years? But shout out to Hayden Cooper for presumably working on this. She is one of the best view model devs out there, seriously. Speaking of pilots and animations though, did you know that the EPG has an exclusive animation for Ashe because she's a pilot? This is what the EPG reload looks like on every single legend but Ashe, and then this is what the reload looks like on Ashe. Why is it different? Well, it turns out the developers just gave Ashe the Titanfall 2 EPG reload animation, which is a really cool callback to Titanfall, and I don't know how people noticed this because it's very subtle, but it shows Respawn are still thinking about Titanfall. Funnily enough, this isn't the only Titanfall reload animation in Apex. Seriously, there is actually a very rare Nemesis reload animation, which is a copy of the Iron Titan reload animation from Titanfall 2. This is because the Nemesis was clearly inspired by Ion's gun, and Respawn kind of confirmed this by giving the Nemesis a rare Iron reload animation. Very cool stuff. Love some Titanfall callbacks. Speaking of reloads, did you know that every gun in Apex actually has 2 different reload animations? There's one reload animation for a non-empty magazine, and a reload animation for a completely empty magazine. And Respawn are actually leaning into this even more with the release of Mythic weapon skins. This is because Mythic weapon skins change a lot of the base animations on the gun they're applied to. Like with the R301 Mythic, it has a special pickup animation, a special reload animation, a special inspect animation, and many more. And on this gun, there's 2 exceedingly rare reload animations. One of the reload animations can only be activated by reloading the weapon while it has some bullets in the mag, and the other can only be activated while reloading a completely empty mag. So it's cool that Respawn are leaning into this lesser known thing. While we are in the firing range though, you may know about the Nessie Easter eggs in the firing range. Every few seasons, Respawn add a new Nessie into the firing range that you have to do something very specific to spawn. So to spawn this Nessie, you need to throw a throwing knife into the air and have it land on a dummy's head. Or to spawn this Nessie, you need to visit every point of interest in the firing range. But there's one Nessie we've still not found. One of the people who make these Nessie Easter eggs have been hinting about a Nessie with a favourite movie hidden somewhere in Apex. And a couple seasons after this Easter egg's been added, nobody has found it or made any progress on finding it. So there's still some hidden Easter eggs in Apex that nobody's found. Here's one cool thing Respawn did that they didn't really need to do, but I'm glad they did it. As you may remember, back in Season 21, Respawn added an event called the Double Take event. And this was an event where essentially loads of legends swapped skins. So Alter had an Octane skin, and Octane had an Alter skin. Or Revenant had a Conduit skin, and Conduit had a Revenant skin. The same applied for Fuse and Crypto. And for every single one of these double take skins, Respawn wrote a brand new lore blurb in-game, combining 2 legend stories into one cool story, which was pretty cool. Essentially, we just got loads of non-canon, but still cool Apex lore. I actually had a really long video going over all of these lore blurbs. One weird thing that happened around this time as well, which is still not being explained, was loads of people in their games were turning into dummies for some reason. This happened a fair amount, and a lot of people theorized it was because Respawn were preparing to bring the Dummies Big Day LTM back into the game, but it never came back. Respawn could have well scrapped it, but also something weirder could have been going on. This is going to be one of those unexplained glitches that nobody really understands the root cause of. And I'm not sure if we'll ever see the Dummies Big Day LTM again. Here's another thing you probably won't see because you probably don't own the Karambit due to its price. There's actually a very rare Karambit animation whenever you hit somebody where you do a finger gun that shoots. Only a few people that I have seen have managed to get kills with this, but when you do, it's absolutely awesome. Most people are doomed to punching somebody, getting that animation, and then falling flat on their face after getting lasered. But if you like silly little facts, make sure to subscribe to keep them coming.